Hello there. Now, is this the black swan event that some have warned about? The removal of democracy in France by banning Marine Le Pen from politics for 5 years after being found guilty of embezzling EU funds. How will the French voters take this? Now, she's also been given a 4-year prison term, with 2 of those suspended, and I'm a bit unsure as to whether the 2 that she does serve can be done from home with a tag. It's a bit up in the air on that one at the moment, and she's also been given a €100,000 fine. She cannot now go up against Emmanuel Macron in the 2027 presidential election, despite having been odds-on to come out victorious. Unless she can get a quick appeal in and she comes out okay in the appeal within the next 2 years. That's the only way she can get in there. And when she was the favourite to win a major election, but she doesn't toe the globalist line, the establishment will always do what is required to politically defenestrate them. So she must be a massive danger to the EU establishment, mustn't she? What do you reckon, Richard?
Jeff, I think that something very dangerous is taking place right now in France that has the potential to spread across Europe. And that is, what they have done is they have just removed the democratic alternative, okay? And I say the democratic alternative because right now the impending possibility or probability is of civil unrest across Europe. That's what we're seeing, okay? I'm not asking for it. This is what I am observing. And many commentators are saying this. So they've now removed the democratic option, okay? With that removed, what are people left with, Jeff? Like literally, what are they left with? I'm hearing that similar things have been going on in Romania. They've tried to remove Farage on a few occasions. Of course, if you're Christine Lagarde, it doesn't matter. You know, that was an entirely different thing. I mean, I'm just looking back to, was it 2016? Christine Lagarde convicted. IMF head found guilty of criminal charges over massive government payout, but former French minister who faced potentially 1 year in jail will not face any punishment. And her current position is the president of the European Central Bank. You couldn't make this up, and yet they're going straight for Marine Le Pen. I wonder why. Well, the thing is, everything is that Europe is a tinderbox. Britain is a tinderbox. And I think we're talking about a very, very desperate establishment that right now are keep prodding the people, the masses of Europe. We've got it here in the United Kingdom. You know, we've got now, we have it in front of us, 2-tier justice. Even the government admits that we have a two-tier justice system where if you're a white male, you're not going to get the same preferential treatment as other people, we'll just say. So, okay. Jeff, over to you. I'm sorry, this is staggering turn of events with Marine Le Pen.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people did see it coming because this court case didn't just start yesterday, so it's been on the tracks. But to be found guilty like that, I mean, there is someone who does know a little bit about this, and that is the former MEP from the UK, Alex Phillips. And she said in an ex-post, and I'll read it off the screen, is France going to block Marine Le Pen from participating in elections? And we know the answer to that. They are. And she said, I assume they will. And I hope the French go fou, which means mad or crazy. She hopes the French go crazy over this because she said this is pure lawfare. The EU's favourite weapon is accusing parties of misappropriating EU funds for domestic purposes, when in reality, the lines can be very blurred. And she should know she was in the middle of it. And she also says they use OLAF, their Stasi-like fraud investigation department, to go after enemies of the project. So it's just like the FBI under Biden. Same thing. Same thing. Meanwhile, the EU's own fraud is off the charts. In 2023 alone, the total cost of that was €24.8 billion. So don't be fooled, she said. What they're doing to Le Pen is deliberate, disingenuous, and dystopian. Vive la République, she finishes off with. So, from her perspective, as someone on the inside, yes, it was. It's just lawfare, and it's been engineered that way. And remember, Farage himself was actually put through this ringer several times, a couple of times, I think. And I'm not sure what ever came of them because he's still operating and he's still functioning, so can't have been much. Now, one of the comments I saw earlier on this in the comment section was about a thing called Qatar-Gate. Do you remember Qatar-Gate? Where it was bribery of MEPs for influence. And this happened a couple of years ago, and bags of cash were found. Yes, bags of cash were found, and several arrests were made, including Ava Cayley. Let's remove that one. Oh, come on. Yeah, Ava Cayley. And she's hauled in, amongst others, but she was a senior MEP. She was one of the sort of people at the top in the parliament. But it's all gone quiet since then, except, believe it or not, 3 more unnamed men were charged in January. And as part of the investigation, another former MEP, Maria Arena, has been charged with membership of a criminal organisation, a charge she does deny. But it just shows you there's a lot of fraud going in within the EU, which seems to have the lid slammed on it, or not much publicity out there about it. So,
but that's the right type of fraud. That's okay. It's a different type of fraud. That's acceptable fraud. That is.
Yeah, because these people were mostly, if not all of them, were on the left. They came from left parties. These MEPs. In fact, I think it's either all of them or the vast majority of them, and their assistants and all that got embroiled with it. But that's all quiet and that's all pushed down. We mustn't destroy the EU Parliament. We must keep the lid on it. With Marine Le Pen, bang, out in the open, press all over it. So it's a completely different thing. So that's the sort of situation we're in at the moment.
Well, I mean, they did the same with the AFD, didn't they, Jeff? I mean, they've tried to ban them as a political entity. I'm sure they'll be trying to ban the La Front National. What do they call themselves these days? It's the National Rally, isn't it? I sort of think they've changed their name.
Yeah, they are the National Rally. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Yes, it's one can't keep up with the name changes that need to be done and rebranding. Yes.
Now,
I mean, it's happening. Well, we're seeing it within, in Britain. I mean, Reform was the Brexit Party. Things do get rebranded, but I just think that this is very, very desperate of the establishment to be doing this so brazenly as well. I mean, what are they expecting? We're talking about the French here. They don't take. They've got they've got form here on this. Historically, they don't take things sitting down. Unless, of course, it's German overrunning. But
if the French see a wrong, what they think is a wrong, they'll do something about it.
Yeah.
And Yam's physical catalogue of media, thank you very much. And you're saying quite disgusting. Sorry, I've got to put this one up. That's better. In your opinion, do you think we will get the UK back? Good question, well asked. Actually, I'm thinking is if the French do get, shall I say, upset about this particular action by the French, if there's a backlash by them, will it reflect itself in the UK? And how will it reflect itself in the UK? Would we be on their side, or would we come out and protest about it? I don't know. If it was happening in, I don't know, another place in the world, everybody and his dog goes out to protest about it, don't they? I don't see that happening here so much, but if it does kick off over there in France, I think the establishment here will take drastic action in ensuring that the houses of worship of one preferred demographic are well protected. You know what I mean? Because that's
that's where people will be focusing their anger. Unfortunately, it has to be said that they will be taking these terrible decisions and aiming towards places where they shouldn't be aiming their anger. But anyway, more to the point here is that, yes, contagion will take place. If France pops, I think you could see neighboring countries initially. But then again, why do you even have to be neighboring? People will feel emboldened by it. But, I mean, these are all terrible things to talk of there, Jeff, because we are talking about civil war and the complete collapse, effectively, of Western civilization. For now, I mean, what is rebuilt in the from the ashes is another thing entirely. I mean, will it be? I mean, that question is it too late for the UK? Is it well? It's the same question that applies across Europe. Is it too late for Europe? Is it too late for Western civilization? And I have to repeat myself here in what Tucker Carlson said. Western civilization means one thing: Christianity. That's what it means. Okay, so unless people return to taking back that faith, taking back the churches, taking back the spiritual and moral basis of Western civilization, then until that happens, yes, it's all over. It's over. We have to be aware that Europe wasn't built on atheism and secularism. It certainly wasn't built upon the Enlightenment. That's when the rot set in. Anyway, there we go.
Yeah, the one thing that you've got to remember is that the global establishment saw what went down with Brexit when they assumed they had control of the narrative. They were losing control of the narrative in France and in Germany, and they're not going to make the same mistake as they did with Brexit ever again. So the upshot is France now has its own major political prisoner. They've actually made a political prisoner out of Marine Le Pen. Doesn't matter whether she's imprisoned at home with a tag, she's still now a political prisoner to many, many people. So that's something that we should bear in mind. So, yeah.
Yes, I think that in the psyche of the French people, it's as if Tommy Robinson got arrested and made a political prisoner along with Nigel Farage and Rupert Lowe all on the same day. That just happened, okay? And I do fear we are days away from some major civil unrest in France because they're not going to take this lying down. I mean, what are we talking about? Are somebody going to come in and replace Le Pen now? Who are the candidates? That's the first question. The second question is, will the National Rally remain in position? Will they be banned as well? Like they're trying to ban the AFD? How long until Reform is banned or any potential new emerging political party be banned? How long until UKIP is banned? This is what they want. But the thing is, you push it. If they push too hard, there will be pushback. And that's what's going to happen, I'm afraid to say. This is a very dangerous time for Europe. Unless some sense comes back into the whole situation, we are looking at it. This is the terrible thing, Jeff. We are looking to people. The only people who can bring peace, funnily enough, to the situation, and I hate to say it, and it grips my you-know-what, and that it is people like Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron, who they're the only people who will be able to bring peace back to the situation by conceding power and by allowing democracy to take place. If they don't, if they try and cut this any further, if they go any further with this cutting of democracy, that's it. That's it. It's game over. You remove civilization. You remove the option or potential of democracy. You remove that. What are you leaving people with? Please tell me. Yeah. Please. And tell me it's a peaceful answer as well, reply, whatever. Too angry.
Yeah, and thanks to Mr. Privacy. Thank you very much indeed. A French elite ignoring the angry unwashed. Can't see the problem really. What could go wrong after all? Let them eat woke, etc. And that is definitely where we're going. We're being forced all this stuff. Now we've got two-tier two-tier justice system, as Richard said earlier, in this country on two counts. One on sentencing. So, if you're of the major demographic on the male side, you won't get one of these reports that might ease your sentence, whereas other people will. And also, if you're arrested, as a one of the major demographic males, you're more likely to end up on remand and stay in prison and not get out on bail because everyone else is prioritised for bail now. And this is all being waved through. And the Labour Party, the Justice Secretary, oh, it will never happen. Oh, I'm going to do. No, you could have done something weeks ago, but you didn't. No, I don't believe you.
Yes, but
So
Jeff,
no, it's all a bunch of rubbish.
Jeff, come on. Now, we know our politicians are too busy voting on demanding that airports are built in other countries. For goodness sake, Jeff, cut them some slack, give them some leeway. I mean, it's so important.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that
Yeah.
about? We need to build airports in other countries, and we need to double down on the. We know where this is coming from. We know why.
Yeah.
And
Well,
this is part of
it's
the
quite
reason
funny.
that the West is ready to pop. This is the reason why France is ready to pop. People have had enough of this insanity. Some of us are old enough to still remember what the world was like when it was semi-normal.
Yeah.
I to be honest with you, I doubt we've ever had a period in time when we haven't been controlled and when we haven't all been serfs. But in this age when information is readily available, people can see through it a lot easier, which makes flashpoints all the more easy to take place.
Yeah, it's just sad, really. I mean, this airport thing, the whole idea is that we've got so many people from Pakistan in this country, in one or two areas, that their MPs are actually arguing that we should build an airport in Pakistan closer to where they come from, so they can go over there and go home on holiday, go to their home country on holiday or visit or whatever it is, much easier than going to the main airport and then having to drive for 3 hours to get home. Or to their holiday home or whatever it is over there. I don't know, but so it helps constituents in the UK. Now, when we were in the EU,
wonderful.
when we were in the EU. When we were in the EU, were our MPs and MEPs demanding we had more airports in the EU paid for by us so that we could go over there and all this sort of hogwash? No. And then those same MPs, as soon as we talk about building an airport in this country, guess what they're going to do? No, save the planet.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's not exactly a green thing.
Highest order.
Yeah. How's Ed Miliband going to be voting if such a thing was to be pushed forward? Yes.
Depends on the constituents.
Oh, yes, I suppose it does. Yes, the demographic of any given constituency, which is changing all the time. Oh, well, there we go.
As someone says here, Scrappy-Doo, I'm voting UKIP if I'm allowed. Yeah, if you're allowed to. Yeah.
Jeff, it's a funny old game, this. I mean, we've behind the scenes, you and I have many discussions about who to vote for. I mean, right now I'm remaining non-committal on who I will be voting for. I'm just waiting to see how things look in 4 years' time. Who's got their act together before the general election? That's what I want to know. Okay.
Do you really think they're going to last 4 years?
Well, whenever the next general election is, I want to see who's got their act together. And I want to see who's got the policies to actually do something about the situation we're in. Because there is a terrifying prospect. I mean, I'm back and forth in my own mind playing devil's advocate here with reform.
Yeah.
I really am. I'm going from one side to the other on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I'm not that fussed with the leadership of the party, we'll say, and the direction of travel it's taking. Far from it. At the same time, if there is another Labour government, you and I will not be able to have the ability to discuss any other future alternatives to reform. That'll be gone. No. We won't be able to speak.
Yep.
So time is of the essence. They won't. If Labour get back in, that's it. It's game over. That is the catastrophe. At the same time, are reform-controlled opposition? I don't know on that one. I really don't know. It's very concerning. So I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. But yes, I'm seeing some comments here. Mikey B, Civil War. I'm hearing a lot of that being spoken in the comment sections, right through the newspapers, the Telegraph, the Daily Mail, the Express. The
Yeah.
Mirror as well, incidentally,
Yeah.
and on social
Well,
media.
Susie
It's the same thing.
Susie May says here, Susie May says, "Good afternoon, gentlemen. I live in France. I believe this will set off the mother of all protests. Let Francais don't take things, or les Francais do not take things lying
French.
down."
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So that's someone who lives there.
Yes.
So
It's very close right now. This could be that black swan event, Jeff. This could.
yeah,
That kicks off not
Yeah.
just France, but all of Europe and Western
yeah,
civilization. We will wait and see. But I've never known it come so close because, as I said, this is in the psychology of the French people right now. We have to think if Tommy Robinson, if Rupert Lowe, if Ben Habib, if Nigel Farage were all taken into prison or banned from ever standing again, if they were all taken into prison, we'll say that for 2 years, then what do you think the impact would be on the British psyche and
mm,
the resulting?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm keeping quiet there.
Well, they are trying, Rupert Lowe, aren't they? Are trying to. Yeah, I'll say no more on that one.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
Tom says, would love to go to church more often, but all my local ones are Satan's house with certain coloured flags being prioritised over God. Yes, you need to find the right church. And if
Yes.
you have to travel for an hour, the one
Yes.
I go to, I travel for 40 minutes and there's plenty of people in it who travel for an hour to get there
Yes,
because
exactly.
it's too important. But there you go. That's just my personal view.
And another thing
yeah.
as well, I mean, there are other churches about. I mean, there are other forms of church. I mean, start your own even. I mean, that I know it sounds
Yeah.
a bit revolutionary, but just think about, well, that's how the Christian church started. It started at people's houses. They were too frightened to be seen or be known as Christians because of the persecution coming from yeah, I'm going to go fully into that, but yes,
No.
including the Romans.
Yes. And this is the one that really gets me. From Jenny Selly, I feel so sorry for our children and their future. So do I. What is being set up for them, I cannot imagine. I've just seen reports on Twitter of people going round various cities in this country, and the video stuff coming out of it, just not a behaviour, just the low level of quality of life there. The rubbish around it is awful. And we've allowed that to happen in this country. We really
There is
have.
going to be
And it
pushback.
ain't going to change anytime soon.
Well, there is going to be. I think it will. I do think sometime soon. I was. I forgot to send you the photograph. Sleep Out for Tommy, it's called. I believe.
Yes.
It's a charity where there's people sleep out, not for Tommy Robinson, but they sleep out. And I met two wonderful young men in Corsham.
Yeah, they're sleeping out for Tommy the Army Man. Army
Yes,
Tommy.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Homeless army.
Basically for our veterans who are on the streets. And these wonderful young men, I had a chat with them and a few others as well. And what the feedback I was getting from them and others is that things are looking quite bad in this country, and we need to be aware of that. We need to know that, that people are talking, because we had people coming up to us and saying, oh, it's not be long and before things are going to get ugly in this country. And it's all I'm hearing. Jeff, how many videos have we done talking about this? And how many other social commentators are out there saying exactly the same thing? People who study civil unrest and the breakdown of societies and civilizations, they're coming out and saying things are looking particularly bad right now in Britain.
Yeah.
And
yeah, as CJ says here, Britain is a constitutional monarchy system, not a democracy. That's the first thing you need to realize. Yeah, we've got democracy built in, and the whole idea seems to be that the government has a figurehead who signs documents, or their representatives signs the documents that govern us. But it's all done at the behest of the Prime Minister, or more accurately, the Privy Council. Because there are 3 or 4 members of the Privy Council at the top, the ministers, people like the Prime Minister, who make all these, go and see the King and make some of these decisions. Now, it's all a bit of a mishmash, and it's never really laid out clearly where the delineation of power actually takes place between the monarchy and the government. It's sort of, well, the King does that, but under the advice or guidance of the Prime Minister. And some say, no, the Prime Minister orders the King to do it. But I don't see that. There is another interplay in there.
I mean, for goodness sake.
A lot of people don't even know that the Privy Council exists. There is a Privy Council. MPs who are in senior positions are all on the Privy Council, and people get invited onto the Privy Council. I think there's about 700 of them. This is where, if anyone's seen the Douglas Carswell interview on what was it on, Richard?
New Culture Forum.
New Culture Forum, Peter Whittle. And he was talking about orders in council. That's where they emanate from, the Privy Council. So not a lot of people know that actually exists. The whole idea is that Privy Councillors, MPs, in the senior echelons of the House of Commons, can go around to MPs and say, yes, I know you want to vote that way, but I'm privy to information that you don't have, and I'm telling you not to do it.
Yes, Jeff. Who do the Privy Council advise?
Privy.
Who do they advise? Who do the Privy Council advise, Jeff? The King.
The King.
Okay, so they are privy to certain information, correct?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So would that have applied to Her Majesty the Queen as well?
Yes.
Okay. So would you say that the Privy Council is well informed?
I would say the Privy Council, that's why they are Privy Councillors.
Yeah.
If you remember when it looked like Corbyn might be elected, everyone was panicking because he would be on the Privy Council. They were because he would be told all the intelligence, all the police stuff, all the MI6, MI5 stuff.
Yes, but my point here, Jeff,
you get the idea. They have this, so they can go round to their junior MPs and say, I'm sorry, but I am privy to stuff that you are not privy to because I'm on the Privy Council.
Yes,
so
but Jeff,
listen to me.
Jeff, so this Privy Council would have been more than aware of the antics of a certain Mr. Savile and a certain Bishop Ball.
Yes, so. I would guess so.
It seemed to be Savile's antics were definitely common knowledge throughout the entertainment industry. So how was this man able to be elevated in societal status so readily and easily? That's what I want to know. And in an interview with Louis Theroux, he did say about something about the Queen, saying, "Oh, Mom, my lips are sealed." What's that about? And he used to brag about taking people in to see, in to see Prince Philip, in young ladies in to see Prince Philip. Very strange indeed. Yes, our royal family. Yes, of course our monarchy, our constitutional monarchy. Of course they represent us, don't they? Oh, of course they do.
And thank you, Tesbot. Thank you very much. Just talking with friend. They think my view's extreme. Many oblivious to what's happening. Or are we misguided? I think that means, are we misguided? I don't think we're misguided. Most people I know that spend a lot of time looking at all these different things, see patterns developing, and they're questioning the truth of democracy in this country. They're questioning the truth of democracy around all the major Western powers. Maybe the Western powers, the people at the top, like in the WEF, are looking at places like China and saying, that's how we need to run the West. That's what we need to be doing. Because that's the sort of way we're going. Either that, or it's just purely satanic. Can only be one or the other, I suppose.
Well, again, talking about Mr. Savile, there were victims of his who said that they found themselves, whilst being victims, I'm trying to put this as politely as possible, that it was in the middle of a satanic ritual that these things took place. I think, I can't remember which paper that was in, but okay, so Satanism is a thing. I mean, we've seen some of the footage that's emerged from Bohemian Grove with Alex Jones and others, and we know what's going on. But at the same time, you try and push that to the back of your mind, don't you? Because this is too outlandish. It's too crazy. It just feels, yeah. Can't talk about that one.
As Pom says on the airports thing, Benidorm must have its own airport now.
Yeah.
There you go. Make it easier for our constituents. Yeah.
So interesting one here. By I can't read your name. I haven't got my glasses with me again. Kanorak. King Charles is the Antichrist. Very good book, apparently, called, what was it, The Antichrist and a Cup of Tea, which was written on that very same subject. Who knows? It is quite compelling.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Antonia points out the timing of Keir Starmer's speech this morning with all the 40 countries around the world all getting together to smash the gangs.
Oh.
And I'm just wondering to myself, yeah.
I tried to watch.
There you go.
I tried to watch that that press conference today, and I'm sorry, I found it intolerable. I just felt too angry. It's like, you know, this is coming from a man who campaigned for open borders, for goodness sake. Please don't tell me that there's any conviction behind these platitudes of smashing gangs. It's just rubbish.
Right, yeah.
Anyway,
Yes.
Jeff. So, yes, well, anyway, I think France is at boiling point with potential contagion across Europe, even to Britain. Who knows? And within days, we could see some major civil unrest if the commentators are correct that we are reading, and if what we're getting through social media is correct. Things are looking quite ugly. Hopefully, though, peace will remain and people will come to their senses and will just comply and just do as they're told. We hope that will be the case. As always, Jeff, we don't want any argy-bargy, do we? No, we certainly don't.
No argy-bargy.
No, we want the peaceful, democratic alternative. Oh, hang on, they just removed that in France. What else have they got, Jeff? What else have they got left? I mean, they could pray.
Yeah, thanks, Tesbot. You are excused from your typos. Yes, thank you very much.
Typos? Is that a Greek island?
Has he got an airport? Yes. Anyway, I think we've covered that one. Just keep an eye on what's going on in France, because I think Marine Le Pen's national rally, they're going to need a new leader and new people inside, and I think they're going to get a lot of support. This may well backfire on the establishment just on a political basis. They could well find themselves looking down the barrel of, as it were, of a political shotgun. But worse than that, it could. And I tell you what was more likely to happen. If you remember all the previous riots they've had in France, it wasn't started by the right. It was after the right had a political victory. The left went ballistic, didn't they? And set, and had fires and went round and sort of making a complete nuisance of themselves because the right had won an election.
Same with Germany.
So they're more likely. It's more likely that the left will be out tonight rioting to completely get rid of the National Rally than the National Rally going out rioting. That's what I think's going to happen.
Yes, but at the same time, Jeff, if you actually study Marine Le Pen's economic position, it's very difficult to say that she is right wing. I mean, I was reading here. I mean, here we are, straight in the BBC. Okay, French far right leader Marine Le Pen barred from public office. They have to go straight in with that far right. Don't these people understand what the far right is? Okay. I keep telling people, it's like everyone is using the term Nazi, just throwing it around like it's, just throwing it like it's confetti. Well, it isn't. The Nazi Party stands for, was it the National Socialist German Workers' Party? Socialist German Workers' Party. Socialist. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep.
On that note, I think it's time to sort of depart.
Yes.
So it'll be goodbye from me.
And before I say goodbye, please do like this video, please do subscribe and click the all option when you're doing it, and that way you get a notification every time we put up a new video. So he said goodbye from him, and it's goodbye from him. Goodbye. See you soon.
Goodbye from everybody.